The air war was highly significant to the Allied victory in World War II. The air war had a detrimental impact on German morale and in turn boosted British and Allied morale. There were three components of the air war. According to Richards, the Battle of Britain was imperative to the Allied victory in the air war and brought Hitler's path of conquest to a complete halt. The London Blitz saw the Luftwaffe launch massive bombings on the city of London. However, as the bombings intensified, London's morale rose as civilians were told to continue life as normal, strengthening the nation's resilience. The Allied bombing of Germany resulted in a myriad of German losses and damages to the German economy, industrial output, and morale. Victory in the air earned Britain a great breathing space, according to Richards, and they made possible the final victory. There were many factors in the Battle of Britain which led to the Allied victory in World War II. As the RAF was battling the Luftwaffe over their home territory, its planes could land and refuel easily. German aircrafts, on the other hand, had very limited airtime over any target. Once they crossed the English Channel, their mission often had to be accomplished in 3 minutes or less. According to British historian A.J.P. Taylor, the major factor of the British victory in the Battle of Britain was due to the lack of clarity of the German campaign compared to doubting certainty of purpose. Here, Taylor emphasizes that the Luftwaffe often lacked clear aims and acted independently of the German High Command. This is of great importance in determining the final outcome of World War II, as by August 1940 the German Luftwaffe failed to gain air superiority, suffering the loss of 1,244 planes, comparably less than the RAF's 688. Furthermore, the doubting system provided the RAF with sophisticated detection and command systems. By 1940, the South British coastline was armed with 51 radar tracking stations. As a result of the numerous advantages the RAF had over the Luftwaffe in the Battle of Britain, the RAF was obviously victorious. However, most significantly, after the resignation of Neville Chamberlain on the 10th of May 1940, Winston Churchill was elected into power. Churchill stated, "Victory at all costs, victory in spite of all terror, however long and hard the road may be, for without victory there is no survival." Due to Churchill's determination that Britain would continue the war, Germany was forced to fight a two-front war, which ensured little chance of German success in the invasion of Russia. This was vital in the Allied victory of World War II, as Hitler expected to enter negotiations with Britain. However, Churchill refused to entertain peace with Nazi Germany, and this resulted in major problems for Hitler. The London Blitz was equally as significant in the Allied victory in World War II. On the 15th of September 1940, the German Luftwaffe launched massive bomb attacks on the city of London. The main force of the Blitz was felt between September 1940 and May 1941. Throughout this period of time, the Luftwaffe dropped 55,000 tons of bombs, killed 40,000 London civilians, and injured 236,000. The bombings further destroyed over 2 million houses, which was 60% of London. After the attack of Coventry on the 14th of November, it became clear the Luftwaffe were targeting not only civilian and industrial areas, but culturally symbolic areas aiming to decrease enemy morale. However, as the bombings continued, London's morale actually rose. Civilians were told to continue life as normal, which in turn bolstered the nation's resilience. By choosing to attack London, Hitler made a grave mistake. Hitler's persistence in attempting to damage the British morale led to him allowing the RAF to survive. Ken Webb acknowledges in Conflict of Europe that despite the massive loss of life and damage, there were some positive aspects to the Blitz campaign for Britain. Here, what Webb is emphasizing is completely true. Despite the loss of massive life and infrastructural damage, industrial production was not drastically hurt and British ports continued to function. Overall, Britain suffered massive losses, but there were numerous positive aspects which came from the Blitz which were majorly significant in determining the outcome of World War II. The bombing of Germany was imperative in deciding the result of World War II. The bombing saw massive German losses. Overy acknowledges this when he says, "German forces lost half of the weapons needed at the front, millions of workers absented themselves from work, and the economy gradually creaked almost to a halt." By early 1944, German losses had reached an unprecedented level and reached a point where replacement and sustainability was difficult. This resulted in the weakening of Germany's military position on the Eastern Front against Russia. It was at this point in early mid-1944 that, according to Overy, the defeat of the German Air Force was accomplished. This left Allied aircrafts to wreak havoc in Germany without any opposition. In the final year of the war, the Allies dropped 1.18 million tons of bombs on Germany, as German cities had essentially become defenseless. Furthermore, oil supplies were reduced, chemical production was cut, and the railway system was severely weakened, which forced the German industry to rely on stockpiles and underground protection. The bombing of Germany was therefore highly significant in determining the outcome of World War II and played a major part in securing victory for the Allies. Historian Dennis Richards confirms this when he says, by owning Britain a great breathing space, they made possible the final victory and the liberation of Europe from Nazi terror. To summarise, the Battle of Britain, the London Blitz, and the bombing of Germany were all vital in determining the outcome of the war. Furthermore, all three events were equally as essential in destroying German morale and boosting British and Allied morale.